Hello Achievers, today I am with a new amazing woman. She's Dr. Lise Janelle. She's with me to answer my questions, so you will love this interview and she will help you to break through your experience. Hello Lise,
Hello, David.
how are you today?
I am quite well. How are you?
It's an awesome day and I'm very glad to be with you today. Can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. I'm Dr. Lise Janelle, and I'm the founder of the Center for Heart Living and the Heart at Work Institute in Toronto.
Great. My first question is how can we overcome challenges?
How can we overcome challenges? I find there are two main ways of overcoming challenges. First is in creating something that's greater than ourselves, because when we think only about ourselves, it's easy to back out.
Yeah.
When we have something that's greater than ourselves, then it gives us courage. Just like, for example, a mother who's about to give birth. If it was just about herself, she was no way she would go through this pain. But because she has a bigger purpose, she will do that. Also, you hear of people in a car accident, their child is stuck in the car, and they'll like lift the car and open the door and get their child out of there because something greater than them is driving them. So that's one way of overcoming challenges, to be so passionate about what you want, have a greater purpose that would pull you. And you won't even think about the challenges. You're just so focused. That's one way. The other way is when you get scared, you look at a challenge, start asking yourself, how is that benefiting me? So you don't focus only on the challenging side, but on the benefit side as well. If you go to the gym and you're only thinking, oh, this is painful, I'm hurting, then
Don't go that.
you won't go there.
Yeah.
But if you think, I'm going to be healthy, and because I'm healthy, I'm going to have vitality. Because I have vitality, I can live an amazing life. So find the benefits in the challenge
Change
to
the
help.
perspective, the way you see the challenge.
Yeah, and after a while, if you love something so much, you don't even think about support and challenge anymore. You just do it because that's what it needs to be done.
Yeah. And I would love to can you tell me the story you told in the conference about, because some people can wonder, oh, okay, she's saying that but she don't have any challenges. Can you share me the moment that you have three challenges in only one month or in 1 week, I forget.
1 month, yes. Yes, well, my life changed in 1988 all of a sudden. I was kind of going through life, half asleep, just, going from here and there. But in 1988, my father was diagnosed with terminal cancer and he was given 9 months to live. And 3 weeks later, my 21-year-old brother died in a car accident very suddenly. And my 8-year relationship ended. So I had my father, my brother, my first love, all within a month. It was so painful, so very painful. And I had to stop and ask myself, what's the meaning of life? If I don't know when my next journey will take me, if I don't know if I could die tomorrow, because I'm certainly not thinking my 21-year-old brother was going to die, how do I live life so that if my time comes, I have no regret? And that's what started me on this quest to living a fulfilling life. And through that transition now I find, for example, that the death of my brother, especially, my father was older, so it's painful, but it's not like it was so sudden, really drove me. And I know that now the world benefits because of this question that came from these experiences.
And I would like to ask you according to you, your point of view, because you had a very hard experience and you learned a lot from that. Do we have to have the same experience to learn that, or we can learn before?
Very good question. First of all, though, I believe that nobody escapes challenges. I've been asking thousands of people, raise your hand if you never had any challenges, and that nobody ever raises their hand. So I think as humans, we need to get over the fallacy, the craziness that we can live a life that has no challenges. So once we get that in check, we can move forward much easier in life. I shared the stories. One of my clients, she had 2 babies, and I asked her, what would it have been like for you to go through labor if you did not know it was going to be painful? It would have been so scary, I would have never been able to withstand it. So I think it's important we know, as human beings, we are going to have challenges. But if we're smart, the name of the game is not to avoid challenges. How can I use the challenges to my advantage?
Well,
Yes. Napoleon Hill had been hired by Dale Carnegie back then to go interview the most successful people of the time, like Edison and Ford and all those people. And what he found was a common trait between all the successful people was they had the ability to find the benefits within the crisis. The other people, a crisis happens, they start sucking their thumb, they feel sorry for themselves. The successful people ask themselves, how can I use this to my advantage?
It's a good question.
Yes.
Do you have some life lessons you'd like to share to youth to help them grow and reach their goals and be happy in this life?
Life lesson, I've had many life lessons, but the greatest life lesson I had was
The top lessons.
the top lesson that happened to me was in 1989, after I did John DeMartini's course the first time I did it. Within a few hours, I took extreme anger I had and resentment towards my father. And I released this anger and I got to experience the deepest moment of gratitude in my life. And it actually became the most powerful spiritual experience of my life as well, where it's hard to tell in words, but basically what I saw is that everything that ever happened to me, that ever happened to us, that would ever happen to me or us, was perfectly designed to bring the best out of ourselves. That we were on a spiral, an evolutionary process that was designed to do this. And if we were wise, we would just know at the deepest level within ourselves that we were loved and that we are connected. It was interesting because I could kind of feel myself, but I was also part of the web that makes us all one. And when you are there, you feel no fear, you just know gratitude. And lately I read two great books. One is called Proof of Heaven, and the other one is Dying to Be Me. And both people died and came back and told how it was like. And their experience of heaven was basically what I experienced as well. So I know you don't have to die to go to heaven. And you can, by striving every day to open your heart more and more, have more and more gratitude so that your life can be heaven on earth. We have hell on earth when we are ungrateful, and we have heaven on earth when we are grateful.
Great. And according to you, how we can develop gratitude?
How we develop gratitude? First, you need to want to live a great life. If you want to live a great life, guaranteed, that's ingredient number one. Number two, I use a story. And it's a corny story, but it's the perfect little corny story. This is the story of a scientist that's observing a butterfly coming out of a cocoon.
I love the story.
And so the scientist is observing this, and he feels sorry for the poor butterfly because it takes hours, and the poor thing is struggling. So I'm going to cut the cocoon open so it doesn't have to struggle.
Yeah.
So because it does that, though, the butterfly has nothing to push against. So its wings are too weak, and it can never fly, and it dies like this. So if you have people you love in your life, don't only support them, challenge them. And as you have a picture of your life, if you can start recognizing these challenges I had were not because something is wrong with me. All human beings have challenges. And if you come from the place, my soul chose to have this experience, and it's for my highest good. What is it I'm supposed to learn? How can I use this to my advantage? The same question as before, because everything that happens to us is perfect. When I look back, the crisis in my life, that I know that every one of them was shaping me, driving me, creating support and challenge so that I would be driven. I have a chart in my book on page 16 and 17 that talks about the conscious and the unconscious phase of our life. And as human beings, we have a choice. Yes.
Some difficulties to see.
Yes, that's pretty small. But basically, as human beings, we all have the one phase we go through, which is the unconscious phase. And in this unconscious phase, I think it's brilliant. God made it happen because it's the cosmic joke as well. We are spiritual beings. We are this unconditional love. We are this spiritual being. And then we come into the physical world. And right from the beginning, love has to come from the outside. And if you start thinking that love is going to come from the outside, you're driven your whole life, if you're unconscious, trying to get love from the outside, which never works. And trying to get love from the outside, I find, gives us three main mechanisms when we are in the unconscious phase. One is we run away from pain towards pleasure. So let's say your drama is you're the youngest one in the family, you have a big brother. I was working with someone earlier, that's the story, and felt that could never compare to the big brother in sports. So what he did, he started to do music. And he's brilliant in music as his brother was in sports, because he had the need to compete. So his pain of feeling not as good physically as his brother drove him somewhere else. So he made him a musician. And I asked him, if I give you the choice right now to have been as good physically as your brother, but you wouldn't be playing music, what would you choose? He go, oh, no. I would choose not to be as good so I could play music the way I play. The other mechanism we have is we have our ego. Our little ego makes us do, I'm going to be better than my parents or my sibling, or whatever it is. I'm going to show them how it's done. Or other people is like, I want to be exactly like my parents, like they're amazing, or my brother, or my sister. The problem doing this is instead of trying to be ourselves, we're trying to be or not to be somebody else. But it's a perfect mechanism because it creates our part of our character and personality. And the last one, the mechanism that we have that drives us, is the Pavlovian reflexes. We learn conditioned reflexes, we associate pleasure and pain to different stimulus. So when we're in the unconscious phase, we're constantly going back and forth between these mechanisms, believing that we are consciously choosing what we're doing, but actually we just react. And if we're lucky, what happens is something like what happened to me. When I got all this within a month, something strong happens where it shocks us and we start asking ourselves, like, what's the meaning of life? How do I live life? So it's either a shock, either in career, finances, relationship, health, one of the areas of life, or somebody will inspire us. So that's the way to avoid the strong lesson, is to be inspired. So what you're doing right now is very important, because you can help people to wake up without needing to have their brother die or something like this. And if it happened, it would be perfect, but just realize you serve a purpose by doing this. You're trying to awaken people so that they start getting their lessons, start listening to their heart without having to get the big baseball bat. And all of you who are listening, realize you'll never have more pleasure than pain. If we use the yin and the yang, the light and the dark, if one represents support and the one represents challenge, if one represents comfort and the other one discomfort, I guarantee you will never escape that. So if you stay in your comfort zone and you don't do what you know in your heart it's calling you to do, you'll get challenged. But if you challenge yourself to do what your heart is telling you to do, you'll attract support in the form of gratitude and satisfaction and a sense of being successful. So we never escape support and challenge. We can only choose the form it's going to come. Maybe I'm a control freak, but I would rather challenge myself to follow my heart, to get the pleasure of that, than to stay in my comfort zone of not doing what I know I should be doing, attracting all the challenges and the drama that comes from that.
Great, I love that. And I have a last question, just to listen to you about that. You have an accent.
Oui.
So, yeah.
Comme toi.
Comme moi, exactement. What do you think? What do you think about the accent to succeed? How did you use it as an advantage? What do you think?
My accent?
Yeah, your accent.
First time I got to do public speaking, I was hired by IBM to go speak in New York City at the WIT convention, Women in Technology, where women from all over the world were coming to hear me. And I was a bit nervous about my accent. And the feedback that was given to me was, because you have an accent, we need to pay more attention to you. So I actually got the message better. So it's good that we have an accent.
It helped you to transform it and you became great.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for all these answers. It was great.
My pleasure.
Apply it.